GTA San Andreas is one of those games that has so much cut and unfinished content that even after all these years, we're still discovering things that were removed before the game was released. Over the years, we've seen beta vehicles, cut missions, unused features, completely different versions of existing missions, and even things that were planned for the game but never made it into the final version. And today, we're going back into the development of GTA San Andreas once again to take a look at even more of this forgotten content. Some of these features were completely removed, some were heavily changed before release, and others can still be found hidden inside the game's files. So, let's take another look at what GTA San Andreas could have been. Welcome to GTA San Andreas Alpha/Beta Part 4. Let's start things off with something that was very different during the development of GTA San Andreas: the map. As you can see on screen, Los Santos looked quite different compared to the final version of the game. A lot of areas were changed, redesigned, or completely replaced before release. But Los Santos wasn't the only city that went through major changes. San Fierro was also supposed to have an unnamed island located nearby. A lot of people believe this island was supposed to be Alcatraz, and I actually covered this in much more detail in my GTA San Andreas Alpha/Beta Part 2 video. So if you want to learn more about that mysterious island and why people believe it was supposed to be Alcatraz, make sure to check out Part 2. And then we have Las Venturas. The beta version of Las Venturas looked very different from the city we got in the final game. The layout, buildings, and even some of the surrounding areas went through changes during development. Interestingly, we also know that Las Venturas was originally referred to as Las Ventura before Rockstar changed the name to the Las Venturas we know today. So even though the final San Andreas map feels iconic today, it looked surprisingly different during development. Did you guys know that you were originally supposed to be able to buy diamonds as gifts for your girlfriends in GTA San Andreas? Yeah, seriously. The store was called de Koch Diamonds, and interestingly, references to it can still be found in the game. You can actually hear a de Koch Diamonds commercial on the in-game radio, which gives us an idea of what this store was supposed to be. According to the game's manual, de Koch Diamonds was supposed to be located in Dix Road in Los Santos. However, if you try to find the store in the final game, you're not going to find it. There is no actual de Koch Diamonds location that you can visit. The idea was that CJ could buy diamonds from the store and give them to his girlfriends as gifts. Unfortunately, this feature was removed before the game was released, leaving behind only references like the radio commercial and the information in the manual. It's a pretty small feature, but it's another interesting example of how different GTA San Andreas could have been during development.
Nothing says I love you like a lump of carbon mined by wage slaves in Angola at de Koch Diamonds.
Let's start with something that was completely removed from GTA San Andreas: a Hitchhiker Odd Job. According to the leaked mission source code, Rockstar originally planned a side activity where CJ could pick up hitchhikers and drive them to different locations around San Andreas. The mission appears to have started around El Quebrados, where you could find a green Saddler. Interestingly, this exact vehicle is still connected to the cut activity in the game's files. The goal seems to have been completing 10 different hitchhiking trips while keeping the vehicle alive. If you destroyed the vehicle, the mission would fail. We also have some clues about where these passengers were supposed to be taken. Some of the destinations mentioned in the leftover text include Jefferson, East Los Santos, Los Flores, and a mysterious location called Hicks County. The interesting part about Hicks County is that there is no location with that name in the final game. There was apparently even a campsite associated with it, so this could have been an early name for an area that was later changed. There are also some leftover animations called hiker pose, which show the classic hitchhiking gesture. And these animations are actually still used by pedestrians when they hail taxis, even though the game contains another animation specifically made for that situation. So Rockstar clearly created animations for the hitchhiker idea, but the actual side mission was eventually removed. And honestly, I can understand why. The concept sounds pretty similar to the taxi side mission. You basically drive around picking people up and taking them somewhere. Interestingly, Rockstar eventually brought the idea back in GTA 5, where random events allow you to pick up hitchhikers. So even though San Andreas never got its Hitchhiker Odd Job, the idea wasn't completely forgotten. Next, let's talk about one of the side activities that actually made it into the final game, but was apparently quite different during development. I'm talking about the Burglar Odd Job. In the final version, all you have to do is find the special Boxville, activate the mission, and CJ automatically gets his ski mask. But according to early previews of the game, things originally worked differently. You were apparently supposed to buy a ski mask or balaclava from a sports store before going out to rob houses. The store was most likely Prolapse, which is internally still referred to as a sports clothing store. And the mask wasn't just cosmetic. Wearing it would activate a sneaking mode, allowing CJ to move more quietly while robbing houses. Interestingly, this mechanic is still connected to the balaclava in the final game. When CJ wears it, he uses special sneaking animations, and even makes less noise when walking. In fact, according to the leftover data, CJ becomes about 6 decibels quieter while wearing it. That's a pretty cool detail for a feature that was ultimately changed. It also raises an interesting question. Was the mask originally optional? Some early articles describe buying the mask as something you should do before starting a robbery, but there doesn't appear to be much leftover code proving that wearing it was actually required. There's even an early screenshot showing CJ inside a house while wearing his normal clothes. So perhaps the original version allowed you to choose whether you wanted to wear the mask. Another interesting change involves the robbery vehicle. The final game uses a special Boxville variant called Boxburg, which can be found at specific locations. But apparently, the burglary mission originally used a regular Boxville. That means it's possible the player could have simply stolen one from traffic and started the odd job. There isn't enough evidence to say that for certain, though. Either way, the burglar mission clearly went through some changes during development. Rockstar eventually simplified the whole process by automatically giving CJ the mask when the mission starts. And honestly, I think that was probably the better decision. Now let's talk about something that would have made one of GTA San Andreas' minigames much more interesting. Basketball. In the final game, you can play basketball by yourself and try to make as many shots as possible. But originally, Rockstar apparently had something much more ambitious planned. The basketball minigame was supposed to have an opponent. That's right, instead of simply shooting hoops by yourself, you could have played against another character. And there are actually leftovers inside the game's basketball scripts that give us a pretty good idea of what Rockstar was working on. One of them is an unfinished state called defensive stance. This suggests that another player could have actually defended you while you were shooting. There's also an unused block jump state. This appears to have been designed so that either you or your opponent could jump and block a shot. There were even plans for the player to steal the ball from their opponent. Unfortunately, these mechanics were never properly completed. The defensive stance can still be triggered, but CJ basically gets stuck because the necessary movement animations and code were never finished. The same thing happens with the block jump. So it looks like Rockstar started building a much more advanced basketball minigame, but eventually abandoned the idea. There are also leftover strings suggesting that the basketball game was supposed to include a betting system. You would apparently choose a wager before playing, which suggests that the opponent wasn't just there for decoration. It could have been a proper 1v1 basketball competition, where you bet money on the outcome. Interestingly, some of the betting strings appear to have been reused from the Ryder minigame, including references to betting your car. So we don't know exactly how the final version of this feature would have worked, but judging from the leftover code, basketball could have been a lot more competitive than what we got. And finally, let's talk about one of the biggest features Rockstar apparently wanted to include in GTA San Andreas: buying and building properties. When San Andreas was still in development, Rockstar talked about property ownership being much more important than it was in Vice City. In one early preview, Rockstar's creative director Dan Houser explained that the property system had been taken much further, even mentioning the possibility of buying and building a casino in Las Venturas. But when the final game came out, that system was nowhere near as advanced as those early descriptions suggested. We can actually find some evidence of this cut feature inside the game files. There's a section called Property in the shopping.dat file. This file contains information for different things you can purchase in the game, including clothes and vehicle modifications. So the existence of a property section strongly suggests that Rockstar once planned a system where properties could be purchased through some kind of shopping interface. There's even another interesting clue. At one point, the game could track how much money the player had spent on building property in the statistics menu. That stat no longer exists in the final game. Instead, the internal entry is basically marked as unused. And then we have some locations around San Andreas that make this even more interesting. In Market, Los Santos, there's a demolition site whose internal model name is Buyable 1. There's another suspicious empty area in East Los Santos with an internal name containing purchase, which appears to be a misspelling of purchase. These locations could potentially have been connected to the planned property system. There are also leftover references to something called multi-building. Some removed script commands suggest that the game could potentially change the model of these buildings in real time. That sounds a lot like the player could purchase a property and then change what was built there. But unfortunately, we don't have enough surviving code to know exactly what CJ could have built. And this is where the casino comes in. Rockstar specifically talked about CJ being able to buy and build a casino in Las Venturas, but there is almost nothing left in the final game's files explaining how this system was supposed to work. Later, when journalists asked Rockstar about the property system, the developers were much less specific and said they were still working on the finer details. Eventually, the idea seems to have disappeared completely. However, Rockstar may have brought the concept back in another game. In GTA Vice City Stories, there is an empire building system where you can take over properties, purchase them, choose what type of business to build, wait for construction to finish, and then operate the business. It's obviously impossible to say that this is exactly what Rockstar originally planned for San Andreas, but conceptually, it's surprisingly similar to the idea of buyable properties, different buildings, construction, and running businesses. So perhaps the property system that was cut from San Andreas eventually evolved into something much more developed in Vice City Stories. Unfortunately, we'll probably never know exactly what Rockstar had planned, but the evidence definitely shows that property ownership in San Andreas was once supposed to be much deeper than what we ended up getting. Now let's move on to Ryder. Even the mission named after him had some interesting changes. For example, there is unused dialogue that appears to suggest that the pizzeria robbery was originally supposed to end differently. One unused line basically has Ryder telling CJ to go see Sweet after the robbery. That could suggest that the robbery was originally successful. However, there's not enough other evidence to say exactly what Rockstar intended, so this one is still uncertain. There were also extra reactions if CJ or Ryder died during the mission. Ryder had several unused lines reacting to CJ's death, while CJ also had dialogue for Ryder dying. And there's another interesting change. After leaving the pizzeria, Ryder was apparently supposed to tell CJ to find them a car. In the final game, this wouldn't make much sense because we're supposed to use Ryder's vehicle. So once again, it looks like the mission originally worked differently before Rockstar changed the objective.
There's no pushover. Oh! This pizza parlor's no pushover.
What you take a bullet for, fool? CJ, quit tripping, get up. It figures, CJ.
This is a bad...
You ain't made for these streets, CJ.
This pizza parlor's no pushover.
Oh shit, Ryder, this ain't cool.
Oh shit, run! CJ, we need some wheels. Oh shit, run! We need a ride, super fast. Get us a car. Better drop by and see Sweet. He's been yapping on about that graffiti too. Later, homie. Yeah, we straight. Here your cut.
Now here's where things get really interesting. The final version of Tagging Up Turf has CJ running around Los Santos spraying over baller tags while Sweet waits nearby. But apparently, an earlier version of the mission was much different. At one point, Sweet was supposed to be the one doing the tagging. CJ's job would instead have been to follow Sweet in the car and watch out for cops and ballers. So rather than CJ doing all the work himself, the mission would have played more like a small escort mission. There are even unused lines that fit this idea, such as Sweet telling CJ to follow him in the car while he tags a block. And there are plenty of unused reactions to CJ's driving. Sweet could complain if CJ drove recklessly, crashed the car, or simply drove badly. Some of these lines are pretty funny. Sweet basically tells CJ to watch the road and stop driving like a maniac. There are also multiple alternative versions of certain lines. Instead of Sweet always saying the exact same thing, the game could randomly choose between several different versions. That would have made the mission feel less repetitive, especially if you played it multiple times. And there's another really interesting clue. One unused line mentions the Kilo Tray Ballas, even though the final version of the mission takes place around the front yard Ballas. That raises the possibility that this part of the mission originally took place somewhere else. We can't say that for certain, But it's another sign that Rockstar was still experimenting with the mission structure.
Watch for those rollers as I tag this up. There's another 2 baller tags in the hood. You go get them, and I'll keep the engine running.
Get it over with. Hit me.
Hey, watch where you're going. I'll bitch slap you. Get my back, I'm after it.
Stop treating me like a bitch.
Come on, let's cruise into ballers territory. I'ma tag this block. Follow me in the car.
You gotta get out of my way!
It's so great to be rich and beautiful.
Hey, watch
Ándale!
Last time I arm wrestled someone, I
Music biz waits for no one, chump.
Hey!
Did Koch is
I put it over.
CJ, check out Baller's Turf with me. This ain't Liberty, homie. Watch the road. Easy on the gas, partner. The steering wheel ain't there for no
gee.
decoration, man. The trains are gonna see us coming from a mile. Dude, you drive like a basehead. Hey, everybody, look at Mr. Wheeler over here.
Don't make me.
All right, dude, you driving like a bitch. Hey, I just got this shit out the paint shop, man. You're back for 5 minutes and you wrecked my car.
Stupid club!
Like this block, follow me in the car.
You gotta get out of my...
I'll get this one, follow me in the car. Come on, let's cruise into Baller's territory. CJ, check out Baller's Turf with me. Let's check out the Baller's Turf. You hit this up here, and I'll go up and do another hood. Hit this up, and I'll go hit up another block. While you doing this, I'll be doing another block. Carl, quick, get in! CJ, get in! Carl, get in the whip! CJ, come on, man, hop in. Get us back to the hood, CJ. Come on, let's roll, let's step on it.
And now we get to one of the most interesting changes. In the final game, when Sweet asks where they're going, CJ heads to Rolling Heights, where the Bala's drive-by takes place. But there are unused versions of that conversation, mentioning 3 different Balas sets. One mentions Kilo Tray Balas, another mentions Front Yard Balas, and the final version mentions Rolling Heights Balas. So this suggests that the mission may originally have been designed to randomly select between 3 different locations. That would mean the drive-by mission could have played out differently, depending on which area the game selected. That's a pretty ambitious idea for San Andreas. And there are even more unused reactions connected to the mission. If the gang gained a wanted level again after visiting the Pay and Spray, Sweet and Ryder had extra dialogue reacting to it. There were even lines designed for situations where their conversation was interrupted by the police. The idea seems to have been that after losing the wanted level, the characters could continue their conversation naturally. But obviously, this would require a lot of additional dialogue and careful scripting. And Rockstar eventually simplified the mission. There's also unused dialogue for situations where you don't kill all the ballas during the first pass. The characters would tell CJ to make another pass and finish them off. Which actually makes sense if you play the mission as a proper drive-by, rather than doing what many of us do, ramming everyone with the car. So even something as simple as the drive-by mission had far more planned dialogue and variations than what we see in the final game.
Where we going, homie? Rolling Heights Ballers Country. Do us a little drive-by, huh? Going, homie? Kilo Trades Country. Do us a little drive-by, huh? Where we going, homie? Front Yard Ballers Country. Do us a little drive-by, huh?
Get your stupid ass.
Yeah, Grove is back, man. Grove is back.
Yeah, for sure. They was slipping, man.
Man, I'm shocked you ain't get us killed, CJ. The one time's on us again.
They was slipping, man.
CJ, are you trying to get us pinched?
For sure. They was slipping, man.
CJ, you such a liability, man. Myself, what the hell? Come on, CJ, get us someplace safe.
Sure. They was slipping, man.
Man, I'm shocked you ain't get us killed, CJ. CJ, get us to a spray shop.
Yeah, for sure. They was slipping, man.
Come on, CJ, we gotta lose this attention. Okay, we're cool. Now what was I saying? Man. Now what was I saying? Hey, what was we hollering about? Man, I'm shocked you ain't get us killed, CJ.
And with that, we've reached the end of another episode of GTA San Andreas Alpha and Beta. We've seen just how much Rockstar experimented with this game during development. From the early versions of the map to removed features like Koch diamonds, and even entire mission concepts that were completely changed before the final release. We looked at missions like Big Smoke, Ryder, Tagging Up Turf, Drive-By, and several others, and honestly, some of these beta versions feel like completely different missions. What's crazy is that GTA San Andreas is already a massive game, but when you start digging through its files, you realize that what we got in 2004 was only one version of what Rockstar originally had in mind. And of course, we've still got more to talk about. This series isn't over yet, because Part 5 will be the final episode of our GTA San Andreas Alpha and Beta series. So if you've enjoyed discovering all of these cut features, unused missions, and beta changes with me, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the final part. Also, let me know in the comments, which beta feature or mission change from this video surprised you the most? And if you missed the previous parts, definitely check them out, because there's a lot more cut content that we've already covered. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in Part 5, the final chapter of the GTA San Andreas Alpha and Beta series. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.